Little red gingerbread. Look, it looks just like Daddy.
Yeah.
Two fairy tales twisted into one. It's like Little Red Riding Hood and then the gingerbread. Includes a cute eraser. Oh yeah, we already got the eraser out of here. This book belongs to, well, it used to belong to Dylan Rubin.
It does.
But we're going to pass this along.
Oh my gosh.
Yummy gingerbread, huh?
Gingerbread. How many pages?
It's very short. This is a short one. Little Red Gingerbread by Rosie Greening and Edward Miller. A make-believe ideas book. In a fairy tale forest lived young baker Fred, who was famous for making the best gingerbread. I need gifts for Gran. Oh wait, one day Fred cried out, I need gifts for Gran. So he started making
Gingerbread man.
to make her a gingerbread man. Look at that. There's Gran.
Yep.
See, he realized it's Gran's birthday. He's got flour and he's got his little mixing beaters. Ooh, look at all this yummy stuff. Okay. He baked it and iced it, but then gave a cry as the snack made a cape from some red cloth nearby.
Mm-hmm.
He like came alive on his own.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden the treat yelled, surprise! I'm Little Red Gingerbread and I'm alive. The small sneaky snack started running away, so Fred chased him, shouting, get back on your tray. But the treat was too fast, and he called back with glee, I'm Little Red Gingerbread. You can't catch me.
Like the leprechaun.
He looks just like Daddy,
I
doesn't
like
he?
the leprechaun.
He whizzed past a bear who was hunting for honey. Stop, shouted the bear. Your icing looks yummy. But Little Red sang as he climbed up a tree, I'm Little Red Gingerbread. You can't catch me. He perched on a tree branch, enjoying the breeze. Oh, look, he's going to eat some honeycomb.
Mm-hmm.
When something enormous swooped out of the trees.
A bird.
He ran through the forest, not looking ahead. Crash! Then crash, he bumped into Squirrel instead. Squirrel was searching for acorns to crunch. Look at that, I'm nuts about nuts. You look like a nut, he said. Perfect for lunch. He's not a nut. That poor owl sure scared him away. But Little Red rushed off as quick as could be. I'm Little Red Gingerbread. You can't catch me. Through a gate, up a path to a doorway he ran, straight into the cottage of Baker Fred's Gran. Look at that. He went right to her house. He charged through the house and found Gran in her bed. What big ears you have, cried the rude gingerbread. But Gran had a plan, so she shouted, pig ears? I'm too deaf to hear you. Come closer, my dear.
It's Fred, I bet.
He hopped, skipped, and jumped off the bed next to Gran. What big teeth you have, cried the gingerbread man. Wig thief, roared Gran, with a big sneaky grin. No, it's the fox from the forest.
I know.
I really can't hear you. Come up to my chin. Ooh, scary. So Little Red Gingerbread leaped into place as Gran hid the sniggers and smiles on her face. She wanted to go like this.
And do this.
She wanted to go like this.
And do this. Oh,
Yep, she sure did. Look at those cute little
And
slippers. Cute little slippers. Yep. And there's like a little mouse under the bed. Then quick as a fox, before he could escape, Gran swallowed the gingerbread and his red cape. That night in the bakery, Fred got a note. Thanks for my yummy gift. It was yummy, Gran wrote. Fred smiled as he worked on his next baking plan. 3 little gingerbread pigs for his Gran. Escape mission. See, he's already in Gran's tummy and he's like, I gotta find a way out of here.
yeah.
I gotta find a way out of this tummy. I'm little red gingerbread man. I'm the little red boy with the cape. The end. Tippy, what do you think? She likes it. Everybody likes story time.
Whoa. I always have feet.
Hello Fall by Deborah Dieson. Pictures by Lucy Fleming.
Do you remember when we met that little woolly bear?
Woolly bear.
Woolly bear?
Making its way across the sidewalk. We stopped to say hello. We touched its gentle prickles and laughed when it curled into a ball. We watched it uncurl and move on tiny feet through the sunshine and the shadows. Squirrels were everywhere, digging holes and hiding acorns. We wondered, would they remember all the spots later? Around us we heard the whisper of trees, red leaves talking to yellow leaves, talking to orange leaves, talking to purple leaves. We listened closely and then we whispered to each other everything the trees had told us. Oh, how fun. We sat on a big rock and crunched crispy apples and drank sweet apple cider. A flock of geese flew over and waved up and we waved up at them. They honked hello, so we pretended to be geese and honked back very noisily. Okay, you're standing right in the light, honey. We touched our fingertips to the tiny petals of golden chrysanthemum blooms. Do you know chrysanthemum is a long word? Sometimes people say mums for short. We wondered if the mums were ticklish. We sure heard someone laughing. Wonder if it was her grandpa. Mums. Over in the pumpkin patch, we told a patient pumpkin all about our big plans. We found another pumpkin who was a good listener too. We picked them both and we loaded them carefully. Wow, Papa's got the big one, huh? Ooh, look at the little red wagon. We took turns pulling the wagon home. We liked it best when we pulled it together. Back home, we both had the same excellent idea about the leaf pile. Hello, Fall, we said as we ran towards it, and Fall replied. Look how cute this little girl is. Jump in! So they did.
Yep. Very good.
Okay, you read it.
Later on, we counted
On
on our fingers all
the
the
bits
of fall. We said hello to their
Two, and you pause, it's a period. Okay, go on.
There were so many that we ran out of fingers and we had to count on our toes.
That's great.
When we did
When we did, we heard that. Wonderful. Laughter. Good.
Together we saw the
Savored.
Mm-hmm.
You're okay. You're doing great. The tender treasure
we'd found when we give it fall.
When we greeted fall. Can you say those big words? What are they?
Beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Beauty. Wonder. Pounded wonder.
Good. Excellent. Look at those apples. Look at that owl. That owl reminds me of Mary.
Yeah.
Oh, and someone put lights up in the forest.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Where's the electricity to plug them in, though? And love. Oh, I'm still recording the pictures. Hold on, please. Look at, there's Napoleon.
Yeah.
We're at the table having a delicious, yummy meal.
Mm-hmm.
There's Dylan. The end. And love. The end. Charlie the Choo-Choo by Beryl Evans, with illustrations based on original artwork by Ned Dameron. If I were ever to write a children's book, it would be just like this. Stephen King. Copyright 1942, 4th edition, Simon & Schuster Books for Young Readers. Bob Brooks was an engineer for the Mid-World Railway Company on the St. Louis to Topeka run. Engineer Bob was the best trainman the Mid-World Railway Company had ever had, and Charlie was the best trained. Charlie was a 402 big boy steam locomotive, and Engineer Bob was the only man who had ever been allowed to sit in his peak seat and pull the whistle. Everyone knew the woo-woo of Charlie's whistle, and whenever they heard it echoing across the flat Kansas countryside, they said, "There goes Charlie and Engineer Bob." The fastest team between St. Louis and Topeka. Boys and girls ran into their yards to watch Charlie and Engineer Bob go by. Engineer Bob would smile and wave. The children would smile and wave back. Engineer Bob had a special secret. He was the only one who knew. Charlie the Choo-Choo was really, really alive. One day, while they were making the run between Topeka and St. Louis, Engineer Bob heard singing very low and soft. "Who is in the cab with me?" Engineer Bob said sternly. "Don't worry," said a small, gruff voice. "It is only I." "Who's I?" Engineer Bob asked. He spoke in his biggest, sternest voice because he thought someone was playing a joke on him. "Charlie," said the small, gruff voice. "Hardy har har," said Engineer Bob. "Trains can't talk. I may not know much, but I know that. If you're Charlie, I suppose you can blow your own whistle." "Of course," said the small, gruff voice. And then, just then, the whistle made its big noise, rolling out across the Missouri plains. "Woo, woo!" "Goodness," said Engineer Bob. "It really is you." "I told you," said Charlie the Choo-Choo. How come I never knew you were alive before? Asked Engineer Bob. Why didn't you ever talk to me before? Then Charlie sang this song to Engineer Bob with his small, gruff voice. Don't ask me silly questions. I won't play silly games. I'm just a simple choo-choo train and I'll always be the same. I only want to race along beneath the bright blue sky and be a happy choo-choo train until the day I die. Will you talk to me some more when we're making our run? Asked Engineer Bob. I'd like that. I would too, said Charlie. I love you, Engineer Bob. I love you too, Charlie, said Engineer Bob, and then he blew the whistle himself, just to show how happy he was. Woo, woo! It was the biggest and best Charlie had ever whistled, and everyone who heard it came out to see. Engineer Bob and Charlie spent many happy days together and talked of many things. Engineer Bob lived alone, and Charlie was his first real friend he'd had since his wife died long ago in New York. One day, when Charlie and Engineer Bob returned to the roundhouse in St. Louis, they found a new diesel locomotive in Charlie's berth. And what a diesel locomotive it was! 5,000 horsepower, stainless steel couplers, traction motor from Utica Engine Works in Utica, New York. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Utica. And sitting on top, behind the generator, were 3 bright yellow radiator cooling fans. What's this? Engineer Bob asked in a worried voice, but Charlie only sang his song in his smallest, gruffest voice. Don't ask me silly questions. I won't play silly games. I'm just a simple choo-choo train and I'll always be the same. I only want to race along beneath the bright blue sky and be a happy choo-choo train until the day I die. Mr. Briggs, the roundhouse manager, came over. That is a beautiful diesel locomotive, said Engineer Bob. But you will have to move it out of Charlie's berth. Mr. Briggs, Charlie needs a lube job this very afternoon. Charlie won't be needing any more lube jobs, Engineer Bob, said Mr. Briggs sadly. This is his replacement, a brand new Burlington Zephyr diesel loco. Once Charlie was the best locomotive in the world, but now he is old and his boiler leaks. I'm afraid the time has come for Charlie to retire. Nonsense! Engineer Bob was mad. Charlie is still full of zip and zowie. I will telegraph the head office of the Mid-World Railway Company. I will telegraph the president, Mr. Raymond Martin, myself. I know him because he once gave me a good service award. And afterwards, Charlie and I took his little daughter for a ride. I let her pull the lanyard, and Charlie whistled his loudest for her. I'm sorry, Bob, said Mr. Briggs. It was Mr. Martin himself who ordered the new diesel loco. It was true, and so Charlie the Choo-Choo was shunted off to a siding in the farthest corner of Mid-World St. Louis's yard to rust in the weeds. Now the honking of the Burlington Zephyr was heard on the St. Louis to Topeka run, and Charlie's whistle blew no more. A family of mice nestled in the seat where Engineer Bob once sat so proudly, watching the countryside speed past. A family of swallows nested in his smokestack. Charlie was lonely and very sad. He missed the steel tracks and bright blue skies and wide open spaces. Sometimes late at night he thought of the things and cried dark, oily tears. This rusted his fine Stratham headlight, but he didn't care because now the Stratham headlight was old and it was always dark. Mr. Martin, the president of the Mid-World Railway Company, wrote and offered to put Engineer Bob in the peak seat of a new Burlington Zephyr. "It is a fine loco, Engineer Bob," said Mr. Martin, "chock full of zip and zowie, and you should be the one to pilot it. Of all the engineers who work for Mid-World, you're the best, and my daughter Susanna has never forgotten that you let her pull old Charlie's whistle." But Engineer Bob said that if he couldn't pilot Charlie, his days as a trainman were done. "I wouldn't understand such a fine new diesel loco," said Engineer Bob, "and it wouldn't understand me." He was given a job cleaning the engines in the St. Louis yards, and Engineer Bob became Wiper Bob. The other engineers who drove the fine new diesels would laugh at him. "Look at that old fool," they'd say. "He cannot understand that the world has moved on." Sometimes late at night, Engineer Bob would go to the far side of the rail yard where Charlie the Choo-Choo stood on the rusty rails of the lonely siding that had become his home. Weeds had twined in his wheels. His headlight was rusty and dark. Engineer Bob always talked to Charlie, but Charlie replied less and less. Many nights Charlie would not talk at all. One night a terrible idea came into Engineer Bob's head. "Charlie, are you dying?" he asked. In his smallest, gruffest voice, Charlie replied, "Don't ask me silly questions. I won't play silly games. I'm just a simple choo-choo train, and I'll always be the same. Now that I can't race along beneath the bright blue sky, I guess that I'll just sit right here until I finally die." Mr. Martin, the president of the Mid-World Railway Company, came to St. Louis to check on the operation. His plan was to ride the Burlington Zephyr to Topeka, where his daughter was giving her first piano recital that very afternoon. Only the Zephyr wouldn't start. There was water in the diesel fuel, it seemed. All the other trains were out on their runs. What to do? Someone tugged at Mr. Martin's arm. It was Wiper Bob, only he no longer looked like an engine wiper. He had taken off his oil-stained dungarees and put on a clean pair of overalls. On his head was his old pillow-tick engineer's cap. "Charlie is right over there on that siding," he said. "Charlie will make the run to Topeka, Mr. Martin. Charlie will get you there in time for your daughter's piano recital." "That old steamer?" scoffed Mr. Briggs. "Charlie would still be 50 miles out of Topeka at sundown." "Charlie can do it," Engineer Bob insisted. "Without a train to pull, I know he can. I have been cleaning the engine and his boiler in my spare time, you see." "We'll give it a try," said Mr. Martin. "I would be sorry to miss Susanna's first recital." Charlie was all ready to go. Engineer Bob filled his tender with fresh coal, and the firebox was so hot its sides were red. He helped Mr. Martin up into the cab and backed Charlie off the rusty, forgotten siding and onto the main track for the first time in years. Then he engaged forward first. He pulled on the lanyard and gave Charlie the old brave cry, "Woo, woo!" All over St. Louis, the children heard that cry and ran out into their yards to watch the old rusty steam loco pass. "Look," they cried, "it's Charlie! Charlie the Choo-Choo is back! Hooray!" They all waved as Charlie steamed out of town, gathering speed. He blew his own whistle, just as he had in the old days. "Woo, woo!" Clickety-clack went Charlie's wheels. "Chuffa, chuffa!" went the smoke from Charlie's stack. "Brum, brum!" went the conveyor as it fed coal into the firebox. Talk about zip! Talk about zowie! Golly gee, gosh, and wowie! Charlie had never gone so fast before. The country went whizzing by in a blur. They passed the cars on Route 41 as if they were standing still. Hop-de-doodle! Cried Mr. Martin, waving his hat in the air. This is some locomotive, Bob. I don't know why we ever retired it. How do you keep the coal conveyor loaded at this speed? Engineer Bob only smiled because he knew Charlie was feeding himself. And beneath the clickety-clack and the chuffa-chuffa and the brump-brump, he could hear Charlie singing his old song in his low, gruff voice. Don't ask me silly questions. I won't play silly games. I'm just a simple choo-choo train and I'll always be the same. I only want to race along beneath the bright blue sky and be a happy choo-choo train until the day I die. Charlie got Mr. Martin to his daughter's piano recital on time, of course. And Susanna was just tickled pink to see her old friend Charlie again, of course. And they all went back to St. Louis together with Susanna yanking hell out of the train whistle the whole way. Mr. Martin got Charlie the engineer, Bob, a gig pulling kids around the brand new Mid-World Amusement Park and Fun Fair in California. And you'll find them there to this day pulling laughing children hither and thither in the world of lights and music and good wholesome fun. Engineer Bob's hair is white, and Charlie doesn't talk as much as he once did, but both of them still have plenty of zip and zowie. And every now and then the children hear Charlie singing his old song in his soft, gruff voice. The end. There's Charlie. A facsimile of the original 1942 printing. That's pretty cool. The end.